there friends, it's Cassie and welcome back for another Brutus Monroe video. Today I'm going to be focusing on the September stencil of the month, which is this beautiful stencil right here. We're also going to be using the Simple Strips Crafty stamp set and die. This was a collaboration between Brutus Monroe and Tailored Expressions, and it's just a fabulous way to stamp out and cut out a bunch of sentiments all at once. I will have a video to that linked down below. We're also going to be using this Sequin sheet. This is the Iridescent Frost, which is stunning. And then we're going to be using the Slimline collection of papers. That is the bases and the panels. So let me pull out one of the panels because we're going to do some stenciling. Yes, we're going to use a 6x6 stencil on this Slimline panel. I'm going to show you a way that you can do it. It will work. You just want to be kind of strategic where you put your sentiment, or kind of really think about what colors you're using over the top of what you're doing. So I'm going to put this on my Wendy Vecchi Station. I am going to tape it down a little bit because I want to do lots of stenciling across the whole panel, and sometimes I get a little vigorous and I get moving and then my panel moves as well. So we'll put down the magnets and then let me show you the colors of ink that we're going to be using. These are some Simon Hurley inks. We're going to be using some Midnight Snack, Triple Berry, Slippery When Wet, and Piggyback. Let's start with the Midnight Snack. We're going to do that at the very bottom. So I'm going to use one of my blue brushes, and we'll just start at the bottom, and we're going to go about a fourth of the way up since we have 4 colors. So I'm just going to drag that color up a little bit, trying to blend it soft when I get to the end. And then I'll leave that one out because I will need to do a little more blending, but I'm going to bring in my purple brush and we're going to use some Triple Berry ink, and then I'll try and do it like another fourth of the way. And then we'll overlap those colors a little bit. One of the things I like about these inks is that when they blend over the top of each other, they basically make a whole new color, which is fun. And then I am going to put the Midnight Snack away. We don't need that one anymore, but we will keep out Triple Berry, and then we're going to bring in Piggyback. So I screw up and I use my purple blender, but it doesn't do anything. It works fine. But I do grab my pink brush, and then I'll just go over the top of that, and I'm going to head all the way to the top of that stencil. So another strategic thing is to use a light color when you're trying to match a stencil or overlap a stencil that really wouldn't naturally work for like a slimline. So I'm going to clean up my stencil just using some Squeaky Clean and a microfiber cloth. I want to make sure that this is nice and dry as well as clean. Then I'll pick up my panel and I'll just move it down, and then I'll sort of line my stencil up and then just stick that down using those magnets. And then we're going to bring in a little bit more Piggyback on that very bottom portion, and then we're going to bring in that Slippery When Wet going from the top in, and then we'll blend those 2 colors together. So it's an interesting color combination, but I think it's so pretty. Yep, just blend those into each other. And when I pull the stencil away, you'll definitely be able to tell, if you're really looking, that there is a line where they don't really match up, but we're going to fix that a couple different ways, and you'll never have known. So yeah, you see the line there, but it's fine. I'll clean up my mess, and then I'm going to bring in one of those Sequin sheets. This is the Iridescent Frost. I believe Brutus Monroe has a couple different colors, but this is just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So you stick that over the top of this panel, and you can't tell where I picked up my stencil and where I didn't. I'll pull out one of those card bases. These are cut down to 7 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and score this at 3.5 inches to get it all ready to go. That's why I like these bases also. You don't have to cut anything down. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. And then just fold those over. And sure enough, they line up perfectly. Oh, I just can't get over how beautiful that Iridescent Frost is. To attach that down, I'm going to use some of this Doris. It's like a tissue tape. This one came from Brutus Monroe also, and it's meant for things that are supposed to, typically you'd be able to see through, and I wondered how this would work, and I'll show you here in a bit, but I'm going to pull out the sentiment that I plan to use. I had already stamped these out in a previous video, so like I said, I will have that linked down below, but I'm just pulling out the sentiment that I want. And then on the inside of my card base, I'm going to do the same process of the ink blending, but I'm just going to keep the Midnight Snack and the Triple Berry to the lower right-hand side. We'll just blend those into each other. So it's obviously going to be a little bit different than the outside of the card. Just blend those out so they fade out a little. And then I'll clean off my stencil. And then we'll do the final two colors on the upper left-hand corner. But I love how those two blend together. Oof, so pretty. So yeah, we'll just position it all down and stick those magnets down. And then we're going to start with the slippery when wet this time because that's going to be the very upper left-hand corner. And then we'll bring in that piggyback to blend that color down. Sorry that my camera's out of focus there, but I love how these all blend together. It's just so pretty. And then I'll remove that, and then at least we have something on the inside. All right, now I'm going to, moment of truth, put this tissue tape on the back of our sequin sheet. Trim that down. I'm just going to put it on the bottom and the top. And I'm just cutting it down. And then I'll remove the release paper on both the top and the bottom. And you can see it. I mean, if you're looking, you can see it, but you really have to be looking. And then once I attach it down to my card panel, it's virtually, you can't tell. You really can't tell. So now to attach my panel down to my card base, I'm just going to use some liquid glue. We'll save that tissue tape for another time. But just using liquid glue, we'll attach down our card panel to our card base. And then I'm going to use that same liquid glue to attach down our sentiment. It will hang over, this particular sentiment will hang over just a tiny bit on both the right and left-hand side, but it isn't enough to affect whether or not it will fit in an envelope. It fits perfectly. Believe me, I checked. And that's another way you can also cover up that line, is take your sentiment and cover that there. I'm going to take some silver glitter sequins and place those on this panel as well, and we'll attach those down using a jewel picker along with our liquid glue. I just put 3 up top, and I think I put about 7 down below because that panel down below is a lot bigger, or that bottom portion of the panel is a lot bigger. And then once I'm done with that, that's actually going to finish off our card. So I didn't have to do a lot to this to make this an absolutely stunning card, and it just wasn't a lot of effort, which is great. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Thanks, everybody.